We got this one just the other day from Michael.
Hi, Michael.
And it coincides perfectly to the fact that the always delicious-smelling Shelby Elias from FinanceWithShelby.com is in the studio with us. Hello, Shelby.
Hello, good morning.
We got this note. He says, I was one of those procrastinators that kept saying, I'll buy a house next year. 12 years later, my landlord decided to take advantage of the housing boom, said he would give me first option, and gave me a week to get back to him, and gave me a 60-day notice to vacate. This is something Shelby's been talking about the last few visits, about the possibility, if you're a renter, of buying from your landlord. Well, this guy gets smacked with it in the face, because you've talked about, hey, call your landlord. You don't ever know what situation he might be in. So this time, the landlord got proactive, said, what do I do, says Michael? I know, call Shelby. I love this line. If rich people like Rob trust him, then maybe I can too. Says I was immediately contacted by Eric Elias. I'm assuming a brother of Shelby. Who's this Eric Elias?
That's my brother.
How old? Is he older or younger?
He's younger, yeah. He's 29.
Has he always been part of your company?
Pretty much my entire ecosystem revolves around my family.
Oh, I just love that.
Michael says Eric is a very nice, respectful agent, but most importantly, prompt, and always got back to me very quickly. Will you kick his ass if he doesn't do that? Because as a regular boss, you can't do that. But he's your brother. Can you kick him outside?
Exactly. Way harder on my family.
Says Eric pulled my credit. It was not so great. They came up with a list of things to pay off. I went to work. After a lot of back and forth, I was able to raise my credit with all three bureaus 60 to 98 points.
Damn.
Nice.
Wow.
Congrats.
Then came time to make an offer on the house. My landlord was cool, gave me an offer $45,000 below current market value. That's something, right? That's one of the big benefits.
45 grand off.
Damn.
Wow.
Says we didn't have agents to pay, right? Because usually you're paying 6% commission on this, 3 to 3. And I have lived there for 12 years, so I know every fault of the house. I jumped on it. Now I needed to write a contract. I called Eric, filled him in, and he talked to Shelby, and they agreed to help me with the contract pro bono.
Wow.
They also referred a great title company and home insurance broker. Long story short, I'm no longer a procrastinator. We closed on Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
I want to thank Eric, Marcia, Shelby, and the rest of United Wholesale lenders for all of their help in a very stressful time, and will absolutely be using them again to refinance later down the road. So, we got renters. We got renters right now. Maybe they want to buy, and they're like, housing market. I don't think so. But again, because you've talked about it before, it's worth at least a phone call, you say, to your landlord.
Absolutely. And this is kind of how you protect yourself in this kind of uncertainty that we're in right now, right? People are always wondering, well, is the market too high to buy? Are interest rates too high? Well, there's no better time than to work with a true professional that understands the market, that has your back, because you want to put yourself in those situations where you protect yourself. Because we don't know. The market could soften up. But this guy is protected because he walked into $45,000 equity, didn't pay any realtor commissions. Awesome.
On the other side of the coin, we've got people that are trying to sell right now. And the housing market is slowing. It's not crashing. It may be leveling off. We don't know yet. But when it comes to selling, a lot of people take for granted the broker they're using and how their house presents. I think you used the phrase, your house is on a job interview.
Yeah.
And so that's why a broker is really important. What exactly, what should they be looking for? You've got a ton of brokers that you can refer people to. What should a broker be doing if they're trying to sell their house?
Yeah. So you want to present your home in the best way possible. So you really want to find somebody that's very well connected, has, a huge network of other real estate agents, but also has an eye for design and knows how to make your house look the best way possible. So on an initial consultation, what we do is we go over with the client what their budget is to be able to renovate their house enough to make it the most presentable, right? So if it was going on a job interview, do you want your house to show up wearing sweatpants, or do you want your house to show up looking like they, just shopped at Nordstrom's? So you want your house to look the best that it possibly can. So every client that walks through the door, every potential buyer, they're blown away. And so what we do is we go over that game plan with them. We use designers. A lot of the times we'll have our design team come and actually use their furniture, use some of the furniture that maybe we have or the designer has, and we make the house look incredible.
And you charge some extraordinary surcharge for that, I assume.
No, not at all.
That's all part of the service.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people who have sold homes are like, huh? Yeah. My guy put a sign in front of the house.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
And some flyers, which ran out after the first day.
And just said, get rid of your personal photos.
Right.
Yeah. Or some of the agents that we work with, they have moving vans that they own. And everybody's situation is different. Some people, they already have an awesome house, they don't need that type of, service. But some people, they need that, and we have a whole arsenal full of goods to make sure that they're doing it right.
I still remember this one house they needed y'all when I was house hunting. This was a million years ago, though, and I don't know why they insisted on being home every time anyone came over. And while like the man of the dude that lives there, he would sit in his chair and smoke. So you already could smell the smoke. It's already in the walls. Like, I'm a former smoker, so you just like, okay, you're sitting here smoking, right? Like that, just already when you walk in, you're like, ugh. And he kept like all the doggy do in the backyard.
Oh, come on.
No, I mean, it was like, do you want to sell it? Is this a joke? Like, is this for real? It was so strange. Some of the houses you look at, you're like, and listen, my closet can get messy. You're just shut the closet door. But when you're like going to like, you're selling your house.
Yeah, you can't
I'm
keep
like,
the door shut.
yeah,
I need to see the closet.
Some closets where I'm like, oh yeah, I know that, but you might want to clean it up.
Phone number's 888-989-9811. We're with Shelby Elias from financewithshelby.com. Hello, Adam. Go ahead.
Hey, good morning, Rob. Good morning, Shelby. Hey, I just want to say thank you, first of all, Shelby and Rob, because you've inspired me to refinance my house, and I lowered it to a 2.5 from a 5 and consolidated all my debt. So right now my house is sitting at 371, and it's worth around $700,000.
Wow.
So we're looking to move across country, and the houses where we're looking to move in South Carolina are selling within 6 to 10 hours of being on the market. So I was wondering, should I sell my house first and then kind of do a rent back and then kind of have the cash on hand to do a quick offer on the house? What's your opinion on that?
Yes, that is the best way to go. You want to negotiate a rent back on your house. So when you list your home, you actually want to list it at a very aggressive price. I know some agents out there, they want to kind of max out the amount of the list price for one, because they want to impress the client, say, look, I can sell this house for more. But on the other side of that, if your house sits in a market that's kind of softening up right now, you want to generate the most amount of attention. So when you have a lot of offers to choose from, not only will they bid it up against each other, so you're going to end up with the highest price anyways, because they're all going to bid it up, because you're going to generate the most amount of interest, but then you can negotiate the rent back. And you can negotiate a 3-month, I've seen even a 6-month rent back, where you can live in the house still. It already closed. You have all the funds for the home, but you're just renting back from the person that bought it from you. Then when you go and shop for the other house, now you can do a 10 or 15 day close and write a really aggressive offer that will even compete with the cash offers.
And because in a market like that, because markets are different around the country, it's kind of softening in the Northern California, Northern Nevada area, but still hot.
Yeah.
But in South Carolina, if we're literally looking, and that's not unheard of, half a day, something's on the right. The more cash you have, the more attractive that is to the seller.
Yeah.
Bigger down payment, things like that. So if he's got the cash and he can go back and say, I got $300,000 to put down, things like that, right?
Yeah, and they want to know that you're not contingent upon selling your house because you already sold it.
Also, he mentioned refis. I saw an article just yesterday, in fact. Wall Street Journal, home price growth rose to a record in March. Average home prices across the nation rose 20% in the year that ended in March. That's up from a 20% annual rate the prior month. So, hey, great. Those of us that have owned a home for a year, 2 years, 3 years, we've seen our houses go up by 30, 40, 60% in value. Are we done with refis, though, with the way rates are going and soaring through the markets? I mean, should people still be talking about refinancing?
Mm-hmm, yeah, so the ideal candidate right now for a refinance is somebody that's in an FHA loan. They have maybe an interest rate in the high 3s or 4s because they're still paying monthly mortgage insurance. And so even if you take a higher interest rate and get rid of your mortgage insurance, it still might make sense. Another person, too, is somebody that maybe wants to get rid of their mortgage insurance and take cash out, because at that point, it's still gonna make sense. So there are still several refinances. There's a lot more home equity lines of credit. I met with a woman yesterday who was a listener, and she came in and said, look, I want to invest in some other properties. I want to be able to have some money sitting on the sidelines in case there are some better deals in the real estate market. So she wanted to take cash out. So then that way she had the cash sitting there for if anything, if a better opportunity did present itself or the market did soften up, she can capitalize on that opportunity.
So we did selling. Now we've talked a little bit about refining. Let's go back to buying. You and I always talk about timing the market. Everybody wants to time the market. Well, Bloomberg yesterday, Connor Sen wrote an article that says the housing market has turned. We're looking at a cooling off period, nothing nastier. But the conclusion for would-be home buyers is be patient, wait and see how much the market will loosen rather than rushing in now at the first sign of improvement. He says a couple things. First of all, the market is softening. There are going to be more homes for sale a month from now than there are today. He says the overall economy is showing signs of weakness and interest rates are starting to decline again. Mortgage rates fell to a 1-month low this week. How do you react to all that?
Yeah, so this is great information. I just sent somebody a message. I hope he's listening because I sent him a message because I was totally truthful with him. I said, hey, look, you're in your price range right now. I would not recommend you going out and just trying to get into contract, paying a little bit over what your comfort zone is. I think that you should sit on the sidelines and wait. And then if the market kind of softens up a little bit, like we think that it will, then maybe you can get a seller credit and you can negotiate the seller to pay your closing costs. You can negotiate a little bit better deal. He didn't like that answer. So he went out and, I literally told him yesterday, I'm like, look, man, I'm telling you that this is your best move. But what they're saying in that article, interest rates did start to slow a little bit over the last 2 weeks, which is a good sign. I still think that they will go up, a little bit more. But it's a good sign because hopefully we're starting to curb this inflation and they don't need to raise them as fast. Now, when they're talking about the market slowing, what that means is it's shifting from a seller's market to a buyer's market. So where we weren't seeing any sellers budge at all, they're like, nope, sorry, I want your highest and best offer. I'm not giving you any credits for anything. I want you to buy this house as is. Now their tune's going to change a little bit, and they're going to go, okay. And that the good houses that are prepped right are going to sell, and some of the other ones are going to sit for longer, and they're going to have to be more aggressive. They're going to have to lower their price. So we are starting to see a shift. We're right in the middle of it, and anybody that's listening now, I mean, this is a very good insight on exactly where we're at in the market.
We got this email from Michael.
Hey,
He
Michael.
says, my wife and I are looking to buy a house. We've already been in contact with Shelby. My question is, do you deal a lot with Schedule Fs? We are farmers and don't show too much income on our W-2s. Any help is appreciated.
Yeah. I don't. Your best bet is to go through like a Farm First credit union or one of the farming credit unions. They'll have the best products.
Again, always honest. Literally
Yeah.
says, no, I can't. Here's the
that.
better way to help you. Love that.
Yeah.
Hello there, Dale. Go ahead.
Good morning, Rad Radio.
Hey, what's up?
I'm a veteran, and a buddy of mine just did an IRRRL, and he said he recommended it to me. I wanted to hear what Shelby's opinion is on the Earl refinance.
The Earl refinance is great for veterans. One of the things that you want to consider is if you have VA disability, then you can get rid of your VA funding fee, which is awesome. But if you don't have VA disability income, you have to pay the VA funding fee. So you want to analyze what is your current interest rate and what is the interest rate that you're going to receive, and what is the savings. And then you're going to analyze the savings versus the cost and see if it makes sense. So that's something that we can break down together. But I think that it's a great avenue for all veterans.
Hello, Matt.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey.
Shelby, I got a question. I bought a condo in Tahoe, a vacation condo in Tahoe about a year and a half ago, and it's worth almost twice what I paid for it. I don't really want to Airbnb it, but I want to do something with it. What do you think about, what would you do? Is it something you'd sell, or I thought about doing maybe a half interest, maybe splitting it half with somebody and having them pay my mortgage off and then sharing the ownership with somebody. What do you think about that?
Can I ask a quick follow-up question? Matt, why don't you?
Yeah.
What's your objection to Airbnb?
That was my initial thought, but then I fixed it up and made it my place, and I just don't want anybody going in there tearing it up. I don't know.
Okay, I ask because I know you're a big proponent of that, Shelby.
Yeah, and there's different ways to protect yourself on that. What you could do is you can list on Airbnb's platform at a very high price and kind of demand that premium. It's going to shake out anybody who's not, like anybody that would actually trash the place.
Like
They're not
Kyle.
going to pay that much.
Yeah.
I would have my friends do that. I would not be any part of it. It's not going on my credit card.
So yeah, I think that there are ways to be able to protect yourself more on Airbnb. You can also look for and only allow people to book that have good reviews. You can also call and vet them out before. So there are definitely ways to prevent the wrong person renting your Airbnb. But on the other side of that, I think it is a really good idea to be able to do some fractional ownership. My house in the Tahoe Keys, that's what I do. I split it with my business partner. And we do let some people stay there, but we have separate sheets and everything. So the cleaner has a cabinet in the garage full of all of my stuff and then full of all of his stuff. And when I'm going to be coming up, she takes all my stuff out, preps the whole house, puts it away when he comes up. So I think that there are ways that it still feels like it's your home with being able to split it with somebody else.
Potentially back to a refi. You tell me. Another thing that's going on right now is we are back to consumer borrowing, surging inflation, gas prices. People are still demanding, I'm going on vacation, I don't care. In fact, households are behind on payments for car loans, credit cards, personal loans. In March, total consumer credit leaped by $52 billion, almost exclusively credit card balances. Whoa. We don't do a ton of we don't do financial advice here, but is there a way, when I see this, homeowners, bank credit card balances rose 14% last month. Is there a way that homeowners should be looking at using any equity in their homes to offset? I mean, credit cards, 10, 15, 25%. Is there a way we should be looking at refi to offset any of this?
And that's primarily what's getting raised right now. When the feds meet to raise rates, it's raising your credit card rates. Oof. So, yes, I would look at doing a home equity line of credit to pay off your credit cards, because it'll leave your first mortgage rate in place. So if you have a 2.8, then you leave that there. Then you do what's called a home equity line of credit, which allows you to pull a line of credit all the way up to 80% of whatever your value is. And then you can use that's at a much lower rate. It might be at 7%. You only pay as you go. So if you pay off $10,000 worth of credit cards that are on a 15, 20% rate, now you only have a 7% rate on that. And then once you pay that off, then you don't owe anything else on the credit line. So it's a great avenue. I'm doing a ton of those right now. So I would definitely recommend people getting a home equity line of credit.
Coming from someone who's just like a regular Joe, I'm not an expert like Robert Shelby, just make sure you're not going to run your credit cards up again.
Yeah.
I mean, because that happens time and time. I've done that in my past for sure. Like, you really got to make sure. Oh my God, because that's just painful. It's just painful when that happens.
That's why you see it in sitcoms all the time.
Yeah,
people think, all right, now we can run this back up.
Yeah, and you get so mad at yourself. It's just, don't do it.
Oh, we got this question from Glenn.
Hey, Glenn.
He says, I own a home in Lake Tahoe I live at part-time. I have a great rental history through Airbnb the last several years that more than pays for my current mortgage. My question is, how much value does that add to the home price, having a very profitable vacation rental history? Would you even be selling right now? Or would you keep renting that thing? I mean, I don't know what Glenn's story is, obviously. He might have a reason.
If a property's cash flowing like that, then it's free. It's somebody else is paying your mortgage. You're cash flowing on top of what your mortgage payment is. That's why I love Airbnb so much. It's easy to cash flow like that, and it's just unbelievable, some of these returns.
If there's some reason why he just has to sell, though, does it help the value of selling the house to be able to say, hey, look, I've been renting this thing out nonstop?
It definitely does, especially if you can produce all of the logs. They call it a rent roll. If you can show everybody, look at what this property is generating, then you need a real estate agent that understands how to break that down and to market it that way. Because a regular consumer is not going to understand. They just look at the price. They're going to go, why is this one priced so much higher? And, but it has good rental, Airbnb. Okay, that's great, but I don't really still understand that. You have to break it all the way down for them. Once they understand, they're like, oh my gosh, hold on. How much is my new mortgage payment? How much is this thing making? Oh yeah, let's do this.
Back to the importance of realtors. This is an email from Jay.
Hey, Jay.
Says, question to Shelby. I'm working with a realtor. As I submit an offer for $20,000 less than the asking price, the realtor told me that will be an offensive offer. We should only offer $5,000 less. Was this good advice from my realtor?
Oh man, every realtor is going to hate me. No, it's not. There's no such thing as an offensive offer. I mean, I just bought a house in Lake Travis in Texas, and
Oh my God,
I'm positive that I offended them. I wanted a $200,000 price reduction because the decks were rotted out. There was a lot of repairs that were needed. Now, is it going to cost me $200,000? No, but that's what it's worth to me.
Yeah.
Like if I'm going to take this project on, I'm going to do this. I needed $200,000. What he did is he said, absolutely not. Oh my gosh. And my realtor out there said the same thing. And then I said, okay, well, how about 150? And then he said, no, I'll give you 100. So I sent over a cancellation knowing I was not going to cancel. He comes back and he goes, oh, I gave him 30 minutes. Then I called him direct and he said, Shelby, I will take your offer. I'm so sorry. My jaw hit the ground when I saw the cancellation.
So let's see.
And that's real estate.
So
It's a negotiation.
You offended him, but you got your house.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it worked. And I protected myself, because who knows what's going to happen, right now. And that's what it's all about. You want to find somebody that has your best interest at heart, somebody that is not afraid to do some shrewd negotiation because real estate's like a mind play, right? You want to take all of the emotion out of it, make good, solid decisions. And if that's not going to be you, then you need to depend on your real estate agent to do that for you. And
people have to realize that a real estate agent who says, well, $20,000 less is offensive, he's also doing the math in his head on his commission. If he's an unscrupulous agent, which unfortunately there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah, it could be.
Side note, you might already know, but the Oasis is a great restaurant there on Lake Travis.
Oh,
And I don't
yeah.
know how far it's from your place, but it is so fun.
Cool.
It's like there's a bunch of different restaurants and shops. And
Maybe that's
it's
an
just
off-air
very cute.
conversation.
Oh, it's so fun.
No, it's perfect. It's probably great for Airbnb. Plenty of shopping, great restaurants nearby.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
see?
Lake Travis is amazing.
Hello, Lauren. Good
I
morning.
love it.
Hey, good morning, you guys.
Hi.
I just had a quick question. So we just sold our boat for $25,000. And we want to put it into the backyard, but it would be nice to have a little bit more to put into the backyard. So I'm wondering, should we refinance? We bought our house a couple years ago for $550,000, and I think it's worth around $8,000 now. So
This would be the perfect chance for you to pull a home equity line of credit. So you don't touch your first mortgage interest rate. You just get a second, and then you only, pull maybe $20,000, and then you can use that towards your backyard. So yeah, I would do a home equity line of credit on that.
We also got this email from Debbie.
Hi, Debbie.
It says our 12-year-old son was diagnosed with cancer in January of 2021. We were looking to reduce our bills due to the financial strains of having a son with cancer and the extra unexpected costs associated with staying in the hospital for long periods of time during treatment or side effects from treatment. I wanted to send a shout out to Shelby and his team. They processed our refinance not only so quick, but really took the time to work with me because my son was in the hospital at that time. There was no stress involved. Thank you, Shelby, for your guidance, patience, and fast processing to help us in reducing our mortgage payment. Our son is in treatment through June 23, and we're saving $300 a month, which has helped tremendously.
That's amazing.
I remember her.
One of the things we've been talking about a lot lately, which is kind of screwed with a lot of people's minds, is that you are pro reverse mortgage because a lot of people are like Tom Selleck,
You see that commercial? You're like,
and there are
is this right?
I literally know people over 65 who have gone to their financial advisors who have said reverse mortgage, don't do it. You say there's no reason not to do it.
Yeah, I think that it's a great avenue. It's a great retirement plan, especially right now where you have a lot of equity. There's a lot of misconceptions, though. People think, well, then I'm not going to own my home anymore. The bank owns my home. I'm signing my home over. And you're not. You're not at all. It's a very simple concept. You'll still have an interest rate associated with your loan. You still have a monthly interest payment that you're paying. But instead of you paying it, like you pay your mortgage, it comes off of your equity. So if you owe $100,000 and your payment's $800, then now you owe $100,800. And every month your balance goes up. So it eats away at the equity position in your home. Okay. Now, what if your home goes up in value? That's fine. You still have the equity. You still have the control. At any time, you can refinance out of it. You can also, if you do pass away, your heirs get the home. at whatever the value is.
And do they
There's
get
no-
all that debt, all that extra debt that they've been building up?
Well, so say you owed $100,000 when you passed away, and your house is worth $300,000. Then your heir can go and sell the house. They're going to pocket $200,000, or they can refinance the home into their name and keep it. So it's no different than any other, home.
So you can't find you can't find a negative.
Well, here's the negative: is most of the time people are in their 80s, right? And their heirs, the kids are looking at it like, well, hold on, this is the only asset my parents are going to leave to me. So if they are eating away all the equity, then they're eating into my inheritance. I'm dead serious. That's what most people are thinking. They're like, man, I don't want them to do that, right?
Oh my gosh.
So there is a lot of negative connotation with that. Now, one of the things too is that on a reverse mortgage, there's two different routes you could take. You can take a fixed rate and it's fixed, or you can do an adjustable rate. The adjustable rate is like it's a home equity line of credit, basically, for the equity in your house. It allows you to continue to pull. Your value goes up. You pull more money. You can pull large lump sums, but your interest rate's adjustable. Those are the best for a homeowner who maybe doesn't really have any heirs. They're not worried about that. They're because the interest rate is adjustable forever. You could eat away all of your equity. But you'll never be kicked out of your house, no matter what.
So we got a lot of people who have parents of a certain age who are hearing this for the first time, and then you're going to be doing a free seminar about reverse mortgages coming up, and I assume more into detail on this.
Correct. Yep.
All right. So
kind of debunk it.
It's Tuesday, June 21st. At Sun City, Lincoln Hills. Now, can somebody like 40 years old show up at your seminar?
Absolutely.
Because they want to listen for their parents?
Yeah.
So anyone can show up. It's free. They don't have to be residents of Lincoln Hills, Sun City, anything like that.
No.
All right.
Nice.
And they can expect an hour of your brilliance kind of thing?
Yeah.
And people on site to help, things like that?
Yeah.
All right. So it's Tuesday, June 21st, 10:30 to 11:30, because, what do we tired people have to do on a
Right,
Tuesday at 10:30?
Well, and before dinner.
Right. Well, and they're done listening to our show. And they're thinking, what are we going to do before dinner, which is at 2? So we'll go
my
see
God.
Shelby.
Yeah, you should want what's best for your parents.
You
But
should.
You know what? If I found out anyone was expecting, I'd be like, it's actually going to go to a dog shelter. Sorry.
Hello, Maria, good morning.
Hi, good morning. My question for Shelby is, with the market shifting, where does that put buyers like myself, where I need to sell my current home in order to get the most out of it to put down on the next house?
So it's all relative when you're buying and selling, because when you sell, so if you sell in a high market, then you're buying in a high market, right? So as long as you're selling and rebuying, I wouldn't be too concerned with it. But what I would do is I would price my listing more aggressive, because the last thing you want is for that listing to sit on the market, especially when the market's kind of softening up. You want there to be a lot of interest. So make your house look awesome, better than the other listings, then price it a little bit more aggressive, let multiple offers come in. And then, when you're buying your next house, also think, along the same lines is, if you kind of sit on the sidelines or you wait for a house that maybe they did list it a little bit high, then go in and negotiate aggressively towards that person, because they're starting to read the headlines too. And they're going to start freaking out. Why did my house not sell in 30 days? Oh my gosh. Right. Remember, it's all a negotiation. It's all played on emotions. So if somebody's house has been sitting there for 30 days, try to put yourself in their shoes. What are they thinking? And that's how you can score yourself an even better deal.
Back to the negotiation and the story of your $200,000 lowball office and offer in Lake Travis. Ashley says, when you asked for $200,000 less than the asking price, how did you know the deck was rotted? Did you put in an offer, and after the inspection you lowered the offer?
Yeah. Okay, that's a great question. Yes, I was in a multiple offer situation, okay? Austin, Texas is one of the hottest markets in the country. And this wasn't something that I just did like yesterday. I did this about 40 days ago. So it was even hotter back then. And what I did was it had a huge deck on the back. So I already knew that there's no deck in the history of decks that comes back without pest repair, right? Every deck has pest problems. So I already knew going into it, okay, this is a massive deck. Decks are very expensive. Now, am I necessarily going to replace that deck? No, but I knew there would be some repairs that were going to be needed. Now, another thing to consider as well was they already fell out of escrow once. Ooh. So now I know that the seller's in a position where they're going, oh, shoot, I can't have this thing fall out again. So what I did was I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and write my offer, do what I need to do in order to get it accepted, and then I'm going to do my inspections, and I'm going to let them start to count the money that they're going to make, right? Because that's what they're thinking. Like, okay, yeah, we got multiple offers, and this is great. And then I got all of my inspections done. So literally I'm out of the hole now, like a couple $1,000. And then I just hit them with a massive request. And they're like, whoa.
Hello, James. Go ahead.
Yeah, I had a question. I was wondering, as a first-time buyer with a good job and good credit, without a down payment and without the closing costs, is there any way to get around having to come up with such a large closing cost?
Yes. So you have your down payment and then you have closing costs. Okay. Your down payment is going to be, for a first time home buyer, 3%. And then you have about 2 to 3% that you're going to need for closing costs. The seller can give you a credit to cover all of the closing costs. The seller cannot credit you for your down payment. So you need to come up with your own 3%. Now, that could be a gift from a family member, but you have to come up with those funds yourself.
And as the market slows, sellers will be more inclined, because they have not been inclined lately, but they will be more inclined now to consider, okay, fine, I'll take your damn closing costs on as well, especially because a lot of sellers are already making a ton of money.
Yeah.
And I think that's something people should remember as they're looking to buy now, right? As the market slows, but it's not crashing or anything.
Yeah.
A lot of sellers are looking to make $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 in profit. Yeah. So when you come in and say, pay my $30,000, $40,000 in closing costs, like, fine, give it to them, right? It's like, ask.
Yeah.
We got this email also says, I was at the seminar that Rob and Shelby held. In that seminar, Shelby mentioned a duplex is a good buy for long-term planning. Paraphrasing, if you can get into a duplex, live in a unit for 1 year, rent out the other. After a year, rent out the unit that you're living in and move on. What are some things to look for when buying into a duplex? You got that right, by the way?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think that's every first-time home buyer should be looking into buying a duplex first and then thinking long-term that you're going to rent that in the future. So what you want to be looking for is you want to be looking at what the rents currently are, and then you want to analyze what your monthly payment is and what the rents can bring in. And then see, does it cover your entire mortgage payment? So when you move out, is it going to cover the whole payment for you? And, at that point, you turn it into a rental property, and it will cash flow forever. Now, another thing that you want to analyze is, can I add value to this? So say there's a duplex that's downtown Sacramento and has a basement. Maybe you can remodel the basement, turn it into a third unit. That would be adding value to this. Maybe there's, in the duplex, there's a formal dining room. Well, you don't need a formal dining room. Let's turn that into a bedroom. Now it goes from a 2-bedroom to a 3-bedroom. Now the rents go up because a 3-bedroom rents for more. Those are the types of things. And that's it. That's why you want to deal. You need to call somebody that's an actual mortgage advisor, not somebody that's just going to say, here's your interest rate, here's your payment. Have a good day.
He's online at financewithshelby.com. Follow him on Instagram at Shelby Elias. He's always putting up fun and informative videos.
Yeah.
Anything we forgot?
No. Nope.
It's always great having you.
I know it is.
Shelby Elias from financewithshelby.com. Do you like Weird Al Yankovic?
Oh my God.
If you had to choose, you're going to go see New Kids on the Block or Weird Al Yankovic. Who are you going to see?
Man,
you can't stay home. You can't stay home.
Yeah, you have to choose.
You can get drunk at either one.
I think I'm seeing New Kids on the Block.
All right. We got to play Master of Movies right now. The winner gets to choose. It's New Kids on the Block tomorrow night with Shelby or...